on this momentous occasion. Here we are on Easter Monday. I'd like to welcome our guests of honour, particularly Deputy Lord Mayor, Councillor Niall Ring. We also have Sean O'Connell, accompanied by his wife Susie. Our very, very special guest of honour, Jimmy Wren, who has really dedicated a large part of his life to researching our relatives which fought here in the GPO. And it'll be his roll of honour that we'll be using today when we do the roll of honour. And very much respect, and I think a round of applause for Jimmy. We are also honoured here to have representative relatives of the GPO signatories of the GPO Garrison. And we also have representation from the O'Reilly family, who earlier on laid a wreath with the ceremony, the O'Reilly parade.
I'm going to give Josh these flowers, and as you see, they're from Easter. The red ones, the roses, represent the blood my grandfather shed here over a period of 24 hours. So, Josh, will you lay them there for me, please? Thank you very much. On the doorway.
We have relatives that have travelled from all over the world to join us here today, and from every province of Ireland as well. And they have travelled from everywhere. Some members of the same family have travelled from the US, from Australia and from Canada. And this is a very special band here that we have, conducted by Patrick Scarlett, who is himself a great-grandnephew of Padraig Pearse, and two of his brothers also play in the band. And there's a story to that band, in that this band used to rehearse here in 1916 and all their instruments were destroyed.
Faran would fear Queen Foyle to rise an Oakwood Starrel Shop. Lewin Cosca, Kate Bean O'Hin, a Shahanig and Kate Drown, Darn Nailka, a Staxon Organ of Shop. Is Dina Erwinna, a Gaff na Shachtana, a Honig and Chudella, a Kustach.
Now, I'd like to welcome you all here today on this momentous occasion. Here we are on Easter Monday in the GPO Garrison, 100 years for our the 1916 GPO Garrison Centenary Commemoration. The Deputy Lord Mayor, Councillor Niall Ring, who will lay a wreath on behalf of the citizens of Dublin in tribute to the men and women of the GPO Garrison who served in the cause of Irish freedom. Noel Scarlett and Oisin Scarlett will lay a wreath on behalf of all their relatives in remembrance of our relatives who fought here in 1916.
It's a great honour and a privilege to be asked to read the Proclamation of the Republic on such an historic occasion in among the iconic names in our history. Public Nahairn, the Provisional Government of the Irish Republic to the people of Ireland. Irish men and Irish women, in the name of God and of the dead generations from which she receives her old tradition of nationhood, Ireland, through us, summons her children to her flag and strikes for her freedom. Having organised and trained her manhood through her secret revolutionary organisation, the Irish Republican Brotherhood, and through her open military organisations, the Irish Volunteers and the Irish Citizen Army, having patiently perfected her discipline, having resolutely waited for the right moment to reveal itself, she now seizes that moment. And supported by her exiled children in America and by gallant allies in Europe, but relying in the first on her own strength, she strikes in full confidence of victory. We declare the right of the people of Ireland to the ownership of Ireland and to the unfettered control of Irish destinies to be sovereign and indefeasible. The long usurpation of that right by a foreign people and government has not extinguished the right, nor can it ever be extinguished except by the destruction of the Irish people. In every generation, the Irish people have asserted their right to national freedom and sovereignty. 6 times during the past 300 years they have asserted it in arms. standing on that fundamental right and again asserting it in arms in the face of the world, we hereby proclaim the Irish Republic as a sovereign, independent state, and we pledge our lives and the lives of our comrades in arms to the cause of its freedom, of its welfare, and of its exaltation among the nations. The Irish Republic is entitled to and hereby claims the allegiance of every Irish man and Irish woman. The Republic guarantees religious and civil liberty, equal rights and equal opportunities to all its citizens, and declares its resolve to pursue the happiness and prosperity of the whole nation and of all its parts, cherishing all the children of the nation equally, and oblivious of the differences carefully fostered by an alien government, which have divided a minority from the majority in the past. Until our arms have brought the opportune moment for the establishment of a permanent national government, representative of the whole people of Ireland and elected by the suffrage of all her men and women, the provisional government hereby constituted will administer the civil and military affairs of the Republic in trust for the people. We place the cause of the Irish Republic under the protection of the Most High God, whose blessing we invoke upon our arms, and we pray that no one who serves that cause will dishonour it by cowardice, inhumanity or rapine. In this supreme hour, the Irish nation must, by its valour and discipline, and by the readiness of its children to sacrifice themselves for the common good, prove itself worthy of the august destiny to which it is called. Signed on behalf of the Provisional Government, Thomas J. Clark, Sean McDermott, Tomas McDonough, P.H. Pearce, Eamon Cant, James Connolly, Joseph Plunkett.
Next we're going to have Noel O'Grady. He probably takes no introduction. Noel is going to sing a selection of 1916 songs, finishing with the Soldier Song. Noel is a 5 times winner of Oireachtas na Gaeilge for traditional singing in Irish. Noel is also a retired senior Irish Army officer who served with the United Nations in Lebanon, former Yugoslavia, El Salvador, Guatemala, Eritrea and Ethiopia, and the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Tá áthas ar an fáilte a chur with Noel O'Grady, chun rabhad a chuid féin a chur ina láthair, le go bhfeidhmid glasise go nídig séideach trí bhean.
Oh, then tell me, Sean O'Farrell, tell me why you hurry so. Hush a vocal, hush and listen, and his cheeks were all aglow. I bear orders from the captain, get you ready quick and soon, for the pikes must be together at the rising of the moon. Out from many a mud wall cabin eyes were watching through the night, many a manly heart was throbbing, oh, the blessed warning light. Murmurs passed along the valley like the banshee's lonely croon, and 1,000 blades were flashing at the rising of the moon. There beside that singing river, that dark mass of men were seen. Far above the shining river hung our own beloved green. Death to every foe and traitor, forward strike the marching tune. And hurrah, my boys, for freedom, 'tis the rising of the moon.
You all know Theodore, an award-winning Irish poet, and he's going to read for the first time ever outside his home. We're very, very privileged really to listen to this poem for the very, very first time. So a round of applause for Theodore.
ar láthar inis, a gcuine ar na fillí ar a bheisling acu, agus a chuir an eisling sin i gcrích.
It's a considerable honour to be here today because I'm never at my best unless I'm in the company of subversives. What we know is that the truth of our history depends on the memory keepers, on the storytellers. And that means it depends on the families and the friends and those who are passionate, not about knowing what happened, but about knowing what is to be done with what happened. I have to say, surrender would not be a thing that would come naturally to me. But it was an opportunity to bring to the fore, perhaps in many senses, the bravest woman of the rising, Nurse Elizabeth O'Farrell. Because to walk up Moore Street after the North King Street massacres, to walk up Moore Street when a man with his child in his arms carrying a bedsheet had been shot down, to rely on the comfort and safety represented by a white flag was an act of very considerable courage indeed. But she knew her duty, and when Pearse asked her to take the offer of surrender, he knew his woman. So
we carried it to here as best we could. Miss, did you hear that, miss, what Commandant Connolly said? A boy oblivious to the leg wound I am binding. When we were coming down Abbey Street only yesterday, William O'Brien said, "Where are we going, Jim?" And the Commandant's answer, "We are going to be slaughtered." What do you think, miss? Is that the right of it, would you say? His eyes are away, caught by the crash of rifles, of glass sparkling inward from the explosion. He would not hear me if I answered, having just discovered that all of this is actually happening, and to him, here and now. The women bring tea in a bucket, brisk and efficient, smoke-bothered, filthy and cheerful. Dead men piled to the side. We try not to look at them, or to breathe when we go near. The wounded we draw deeper inside. We do what we can to ease their pain. Beside me, an old volunteer reloads, perhaps with bullets I smuggled in. He stands, takes aim, fires. A figure drops outside Cleary's, spasms and flattens out. The flames are struggling to take hold upstairs. The noise, the roar, I had not expected the noise, the stink, the filth of it. Blood, cordite, the toilets blocked, black plaster dust everywhere. Connolly beckoning to Pearse, their bare heads together. A smouldering beam thuds down behind them. Flames lick the air. Break out through Moore Street. Send out the women under a flag. Crowbar and pickaxe work. Save what we can. We won't save you, I think. Keep my counsel. The long retreat inside ourselves has begun. Thunder outside as another building falls, the guns walking their hell steadily towards us. Fire is their answer to our stubborn persistence. They could starve us out if they wished, but some demon drives them. They want we should burn for the sin of pride, rebels against their divine order, to prevent further slaughter. The words are agreed, scrawled out by lamplight. This morning we watched a father and his child waving a soiled bedsheet, gunned down as they ran from shelter. They will not fire on a woman. I mean to remember the man who said that, one of the few poor innocents left. Gathered all that I had been until now, my time on earth, stood, smoothed my skirts, pinned up my hair. Pierced by the stretcher sought my eyes. Now, Liz, be of good heart. This is not defeat. We've made a good beginning now. We've carried it to here. I bowed my head. I would not weep. The walls, the roof crashed in. Dead bodies in doorways, on the streets, this I remember, the stench, quick swarming flies, and not just soldiers, volunteers, yes, but ordinary men and women and children too. My God, the children. I was too horrified to feel fear, but I walked on, a cold prickling like electricity on my skin, walked under the guns, seeing madness in some eyes. I felt strange to myself, pushed out onto a nightmare stage, but rage steadied me when some aide threatened to shoot me. His superior grim, unbending, severe in his terms. I drew on my own cold reserves. I made him give his word. I caught the flash of sunlight on lens, saw the camera raised, and time slowed. I made quick calculation, the general facing Pierce crisp and commanding, our own man upright but wearied by cares, flanked by a nurse, saw what would come of this, to what purpose it could be put. I stepped to one side, stood out of the record. For the dignity of our cause, yes, and for a second reason, one that came suddenly clear. I knew we would fight on, would rise from this burning carnage. I saw no reason the enemy should have my image. I held myself out of their history to make my own.
Bavach la tremra parachas akaran al krava chitem leie vayfrim. Oh, Jerusalem was life.
We have to thank Donna and Deirdre. I know they had a committee, but like every committee, there's always the people who lead the committee. So, during Margaret, as I'm over Ínta from the ship, our son, coming well to Nadia Gshadia, got some Garstool, your difficult fish. So, Gura Margaret, Donna, August, Deirdre.
Fianna, Fianna Fáil, a tá sé